Good morning. Welcome to the Model Railroads and Structures Show. Today I'm going to be slowly going through this tutorial show. What I want to do here is I added one layer of Mod Podge to this side of the layout so that I can size up my IOQs. I muted you for a second while I started the video. Hope you don't mind. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to be adding pilings to the front of the docks. As you can see over here, we've got pilings here with the tires tied to them. I'm going to be building those that are on the dock right here. Then we're going to come back and we're going to put one layer of Mod Podge where the boats are going to sit, and on the outside where the boats, in front of the boats, we're going to add a real thick layer of Mod Podge over here. On this section, I'm going to, again, I'm going to put a thin one layer of Mod Podge along the docks so that I don't have too much uneven surface for the boats to sit on. If I want the boats to be on an angle, like swishing around in the waves, I'll just add a stick underneath it. Yeah, so that's those two parts. I also have a video that I put up that I made on building the roads, which you can see back here. Well, not really see the behind some parts, but I've got some photos. Let me bring up some photos. As you can see right there, I made a road going into the seaside. I don't know what I'm going to call this area, kind of like the boardwalk area. A road going into there, and I also have a cement pad for a mechanic shop to the left there, or it could be the right, I don't know. The way this video thing switches things over on us. So, what else do I got here? Yeah, got more images. So that's the module from the back side. Today we're looking at it from the front side, obviously. So, let's get at it. As I said before, the product that I use for my water is Mod Podge. The color I use for my water is Payne's Gray. It's just a normal acrylic paint. What I do is I start from the deep water and I paint to the inside. And sometimes if I'm going to put if there's not going to be a dock and I was going to have to simulate the water going into the deep water, I'd use greens all the way up to a tan color. Probably I'd use like a military green or a dark green. But as this is going to have a dock that's coming across here for a gas service center for the boats, so that's going to be going up maybe over here or something like that. Something not to cover this scene here, but also to put some action down below here. So yeah, like I said, Payne's Gray for the bottom. let it dry completely. I like to use a soft bristle brush to add Mod Podge. Mod Podge doesn't affect the styrofoam that goes underneath it. Lots of people suggest using Envirotex to put down your first layers of water to get some thickness into the water. And that's a fantastic technique, except for the fact that it will destroy styrofoam if you're putting it directly on top of it. So I'm not really interested in doing a lot of plaster work here. So what I'm doing is just using Mod Podge. I don't need to add a layer of Envirotex to get the effects that I need for this layout. So as I said before, I'm just dipping this loose brush into the Mod Podge, and I'm going to do a thin layer along the shore. All I want to do is to get the texture of water so that if somebody's actually looking back there, they'll see what they want to see. I'm not going to go too far over into the stock because I want to do that off camera and take my time with it. Don't ever lose patience when building a model, because you spend hours and hours on a certain part of that project only to get impatient by one simple step, and all of a sudden you've hampered the quality of your model because you got frustrated. Don't worry, I'm not superhuman. I get frustrated too. Sometimes I jump up in the air, pulling my hair out. As you'll be able to see in my video coming up on making roads, I've pulled most of my hair out already. So it's like I said, this is a soft bristle brush. It's pretty near at the end of its life, ready for the garbage, and that's why I'm using it. After you start dabbing a brush like this down on its bristles, you end up pushing the Mod Podge right up into the seam of the bristles, so that this brush will never have a straight edge again. So I'm gonna unmute Accuse. There you go. Hey Accuse, what's your first name?
Ocus.
Ocus. Ah, Ocus. There you go. How are you doing today?
Good, brother. What's going on?
Just getting this list of techniques that people ask me about onto film so that they can watch it. I spent so many years writing articles. I wondered, I never actually found out if anybody liked them really, or not liked them, but used them. And it's nice using this Hangouts and YouTube because you get so much feedback from people saying
Yeah,
that they.
man.
What? Go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, this the amount of time and stuff and the amount of people that we've gotten into the Hangouts slash live video feeds and everything, I think it's really taken off. And I have a lot of friends of mine that I'm trying to get introduced into this to that sit around and watch YouTube videos and everything, but don't ever do the interaction piece like this. And I'm gonna try to get them more turned on to things of this nature because it's definitely a beneficial thing to the hobby.
I recognize what they're going through, though, because it's a big step to go from the anonymous internet usage to, putting yourself out there, meeting just anybody on the internet,
Yes, exactly.
You never know who you're going to run into. I understand what if they're apprehensive about coming on the internet and talking to people and stuff like that. I understand that.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it can be a scary thing at first, but it's just you have to take it step by step.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I mean, even in some of these Facebook groups and things of that nature, I've seen some pretty crazy characters.
Hey Barry, how you doing?
Oh, it's doing pretty good, Ron.
I understand what if they're apprehensive about coming on the internet and talking. Somebody's watching the video in the background. If you could mute that.
It's one of those things that it can be a scary thing at first, but just you have to take it step by step.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, even in some of these Facebook groups and things that.
You'll hear it in about 10. There you go.
Barry, I think you're watching the movie, brother, as you're in the actual hangout.
Yeah, the YouTube video plays 10 seconds behind the actual recording. So Barry's now in the Hangout, so he's 10 seconds in the future. And we're listening to the past. So that's that edge side of the what happened here?
Do you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Barry.
Okay, yeah. I don't have my cam on this laptop, but I can at least talk to you guys.
Right on.
Yeah, it's looking good, Ron.
Thank you. So I'm actually not going to be doing this side of the break wall because I want to try to do a couple of waves. And I haven't experimented on a piece of cardboard yet, making some big waves. I got a few articles published on my website from Patrols Kirk on his waves. So I want to pour over those articles before I try it myself. So just like I said, I just wanted to get one layer here for where the boats are so that they're sitting on top of water and there's no flat blue showing underneath them. So I'm just going to stipple it really good so that there's the variation. And then I'm going to come back on the front section and put a nice thick layer on top, like on top of this, so that's 2 layers of Mod Podge and get a bigger profile of the ripples on the water.
Hey, Ron, what kind of techniques have you seen for doing the waves?
On the other side of the breakwater, what I'm using is a super clear silicone,
Oh, okay.
and I'm gonna practice on a piece of cardboard with a little trowel and try to make wave,
Because the one technique I learned, if you're interested,
Yeah.
how you're using the Mod Podge here, we basically painted the bottom and then used what was it, clear acrylic or clear gloss gel.
Yeah.
And then what you can do is to make like waves, you take like a flat brush and you push down on the edge of the brush and then slide it forwards to build up the clear gloss gel. And if you want bigger waves, just come back and put a second coat on, and you push down on the surface and push forwards, and it actually piles it up into wave shapes. So you can make
Oh, okay.
nice long straight lines of waves that way.
So while it's in the setup process, you're doing that, correct, Barry?
Yeah, literally, you put down like he's doing now, you put down the base coat just like that. Then you take the flat brush and you push, put it on the flat side, push down, then show forwards, and it scoots the gloss gel forward and piles it up a little bit. And you can keep applying layers upon layers as it builds up to make bigger waves. And then when you're done, you take some, and it's dry, you take like white paint and dry brush the tips for the waves and everything like that.
Yeah, yeah. That's basically exactly how I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
That's basically how I'm gonna do it. I just grabbed silicone instead, but I think this is kind of like that acrylic gloss,
Yeah,
isn't it?
you might be able to do it just with that stuff right there.
It's probably
It's very
thicker.
similar.
Probably thicker, the stuff you're talking about, right?
It's not terribly thick. It looks about like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was thinking with the silicone, that I'd be able to.
I mean, I've heard of people using silicone before too.
Yeah. Do you know
Yeah.
just the? You know the other one is matte medium, or not
Yeah.
matte, gloss medium.
Yeah, that's almost the same as the gloss gel. I think the gloss gel is acrylic based.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I learned at a clinic from Dave Ferrari up in Massachusetts one time.
Well, he is the master of what has been done in the past.
I'll tell you what, I was deathly afraid of touching water effects until I took that class. We did this whole little module, like a little 1 foot square thing, in like 2 hours. We had to force dry stuff with heat guns, but I was surprised how fast it could be done and how beautiful it came out after you learn what the hell you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, literally, what you've done here is identical to what he showed us, except for the fact that just you're using a different material. But the Mod Podge is pretty much like the acrylic, the gloss medium.
I'll totally admit I've watched Dave Ferrari's videos on his Blue Ribbon Models website.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started writing articles, I had this little plan sitting on the front porch. I was a carpenter when I back then, had a big bag of sawdust on the porch there. Didn't know what I was gonna do with it. And I thought to myself, I'm gonna color this stuff ground cover and make it into ground cover. So I did that. I made an article about it.
Yeah.
Holy crap! Some guy came at me saying, "Oh, you should give credit to Dave Ferrari because he's the one who created that idea."
Yeah. Dave is like the godfather of all modern scenery techniques.
So I'll give credit to him here because I did learn some of these techniques from Dave.
I'll tell you what, I have a bunch of his DVDs, and his Waterways DVDs. If you want to learn how to do water effects, that's the man. But I mean, you're doing just a beautiful job here. I can't wait to see how this all turns out.
I'll tell you the truth, me either, because when I started this module, I since then I've bought a couple of bags off of eBay of detail parts from people left over from their kits and stuff.
Yeah.
And I know a few custom builders who they really don't put a lot of details into their kits, so I've contacted them and bought their details off them. So that's really the most expensive part of this hobby is getting those details. And when you can find them cheap from people, that's what brings the price down big time for me.
Oh yeah. Well, that goes back to that conversation we were all having on Facebook the other day about what is a Craftsman kit, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's so
Some of
true.
these ones are incredible. Like I bought the motif #1 from Best Trains, and it has the cast stone wharf, the building, all the lobster buoys hanging on the wall, photo etched lobster traps. It had a Seaport Models lobster boat with it. I mean, it has everything you need to make that scene of Rockport Harbor.
I have yet to build a seaport boat, but
I have 3 of them, so.
I'm very keen to do so.
Oh, my next project I'm starting on is I'm going to do a little diorama of a Dogbar Breakwater Lighthouse. I got the kit off of Atlantic Scale Models from Hal Reynolds.
Yeah.
And so I'm working at the method now to do the actual breakwater because it's all giant granite slabs. And I bought one of the 34-foot lobster boat kits from Seaport when I was at the expo last year, so I can add it to that scene.
Well, I'll show you what I did for my breakwater.
Wow.
Those are styrofoam chunks.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I painted them concrete. Concrete's my go-to color.
Well, I may have to do something like that because the way this breakwater was done, it was a series of like 2 by 3 foot, like 10-foot long granite slabs on top, and there's like several layers beneath it that keep getting slightly wider. Then on the ocean side, there's stone like that. The back side, you just see the ends of the slabs as they go below the water. I want to try and carve them out of balsa wood and see if I can seal them and paint them right to look like that. So maybe I will start with a concrete color and weather them and stuff, see how they turn out. If not, I'll carve them up and seal them and use them for mold masters to make the molds out for hydrocal or something.
I highly suggest getting a little 1-inch piece of foam to make your concrete too, because it's real easy to get your fingers around the edges of foam
Yeah,
so that it looks like how concrete starts to deteriorate around the edges.
yeah, yeah.
It rounds off, and you can really make that look rounded off with your finger by pushing it in.
Yeah, that's why I chose the balsa wood because the top is not a slab like that. It's all the individual granite pieces, and they're
Yep.
all slightly uneven, so they're all like 2 feet wide. So, but that's still a good idea. I mean, I could even try and carve them out of that too. You know, 'cause that way when I break them off, it would make uneven cuts and everything. That's something to consider too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got a bag of junk foam that my wife's been trying to throw out for 6 years now. And she thinks that it's the same foam pieces in that bag, but it isn't. It's constantly recycled.
Yeah, I have
Foam,
one of them. Plus, I got a box of chunks of wood that I use for different things.
foam is a wonderful medium for all kinds of things.
Oh yeah, I even use foam sometimes for templates for some of the things I work on, like my control panels. I have the end brackets. I make them out of wood by using a foam template.
That stone block wall foam.
Oh, that's right, you were saying that. Yeah, when I was watching your other video. Yeah. So what
Cut.
did you carve the face with? Just a knife?
Well, I got a soldering iron from Micromark for putting grooves into planks.
Oh.
It's basically a soldering iron with a half-inch or quarter-inch chunk of hacksaw blade cut out of it. And the hacksaw blade is put into the end of the soldering iron.
Hmm.
It gets real hot, and what you do is you put the grooves into the wood planks, right? And it's really easy to add the grooves to the planks, and it's really nice because it peels paint because it's hot. And then so I just was sitting there doing that one day, and I said, well, why don't we make a block wall out of this? You know, so I put in a fresh hacksaw blade into the soldering iron, went at it.
That's a great idea.
I didn't even measure it. I just, you just go through, and the ups and downs and the lines look like, stone's never the same size.
No, I bought a wire foam cutter,
Yeah.
and they had when they were showing how to use it, the guy literally had the wire where he could bend it, and then he made it into like a rounded tip and took a piece of pink foam and started turning it into a block wall just like that. That's why I was curious how you did that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty interesting way you did it.
So actually, if you look at this diorama, this is a 1-inch foam, and that goes the entire width of the module.
Right.
And then, this is a 2-inch foam that sits on top of the 1-inch foam, and I just cut into the edge of that 2-inch foam right here.
Oh, cool.
And it goes the length of the module all the way along that kind of block wall.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, ever since I put these trees on it, it's really getting me jived into getting this set up.
Well, like you say, it's all in the details, you know. And you could build those buildings out of cardboard and cardstock and detail them up until they look like a real building, and then without all the stuff sitting on the dock and everything, it wouldn't just be the same, you know.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm really thinking real hard about what I want to do with all this here. I kind of want to put a little gas station down here for my small runabout boat. Maybe put a couple of runabout boats here.
Yeah,
And
you know
then,
what you could do is you have a ramp, like one of those metal ramps, come off of the dock in the center there, and just put a little pontoon dock, you know, that floats on oil cans,
yeah,
and
kind
that
of like
way, you
that.
know, people can come down and get their gas there in their small boats.
Yeah, that's what I got right here.
Yeah, yeah.
I got the skid plates down here.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. That was the last thing I did before I lost the ambition a couple of years ago and put this into storage.
Well, I tell you what, the best thing I looked last night. We're almost over slightly over 600 members now between G Plus and the Facebook page. And when keeping involved in this is definitely keeping my interest up in different things now. So, and I'm glad there's a fellow on here like you that likes to do these kind of craftsman kits and share this stuff. So hopefully I'll be joining you with my next project. That'll be one of the videos I'm going to shoot. So
Yeah, in early January, I wanted to do something different from the website. Like, I do modellersguild.com, and I
yeah,
also have a Facebook group that's going fantastically well. Like 3,000 members, and
wow,
it's just as active as, well, it's surprising. This YouTube Model Builders Facebook group is really active itself.
yeah,
Because my group's probably just as active, if like probably more because there's more people. But it's surprising to me how good the Model Builders group is.
I'm gonna,
Um,
I'm gonna
my
check
point
that out.
being was is that I was getting bored of doing that, and what I wanted to do was start a magazine in
Ah,
January. And I soon found out the costs of that, and then I started thinking about YouTube and how you really get the cost down.
yeah. I mean, doing a magazine is definitely expensive, but I mean, if you sat down and wrote the articles and published it as an ebook that people could download, like Model Railroad Hobbyist does,
Yeah,
then it's just your time and effort into it. At that point. Then you
Yeah.
sell ads and make some income to cover it, but you know, you're basically covering the cost of putting it somewhere where people can download it and everything like that. But I'm finding that this interaction here that we do here makes a lot of difference. I mean, I don't go to model railroad hobbyists anywhere near as much as I used to now that I started with this.
Well, the
And
gloves.
I know those guys, and it's been a great group for years.
I started this. I started about a year before Model Railroad Hobbyist, and they've grown to be a great big group. But I'll tell you this: the gloves are coming off with those guys. I recently got an email from Model Railroader magazine, uh, totally saying that Model Railroad Hobbyists lied about their numbers and stuff like that. The gloves are coming off. They're beginning to. When Model Railroader starts complaining about a website, you know that things are changing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I subscribe to both their video services, and there's been a lot of comparison between the two of them, as quantity versus quality and everything. And they're having a war of words and ads comparing who's putting more video content up there, Trainmaster TV or Model Railroad Video Plus. And being as I subscribe to both, I have a fairly good opinion that while I like the stuff from Model Railroader, it's not as good as the free videos they used to produce before. David Pop does good stuff. It's more detailed. The other guys, it's all short 10, 15-minute segments, all glossed over what they're actually doing. Whereas you go to, and they put 20 different videos a month up, say. You go to Trainmaster TV, might have 5. But those 5 ends up turning into over 2 hours worth of content. And it's professionally shot by like a guy who used to be in the TV business. So it's just really beautifully done compared to what they do at Model Railroader. So it's a shame, that Model Railroader is trying to drag this through the mud saying, hey, we produce more content. But they really don't. It'll all sort itself out in the end. But I'm keeping my subscriptions to both because it's not necessary sometimes how much content, but what is the content. And I love Project Railroads that Model Railroader does.
Well, I'll give my opinion freely. It might come back to bite me in the ass.
Nobody else, the 3 of us are hearing it right now, so.
Oh, it'll be heard by a couple hundred sooner or later. Model Railroader is a publication first and a content after publication. They, their authors are not necessarily modelers when they start the job. And when you first see an employee of Model Railroader start, he's producing mediocre at best work, very literal representations of what tutorials tell you to do, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, you just can't, like, on one hand, their target market is the new modeler, right? And
Yeah.
that watching somebody fumble like that is important. However, the cost of Model Railroader to advertise in Model Railroader to, it's just cost after cost after cost after cost. They should have a focus on high quality modeling in every issue, and that just doesn't happen really,
No, you're right there. I totally agree with that.
like it's all about the products, right? And I know people will say that I push products, but I'll push a product if I get paid to do it or not. I push the product because I use the stuff.
Right.
You know, uh, if I'm being pushed to do a product review on something, I'll build something that uses that product. I'm not going to do an infomercial.
Right.
You know, but Model Railroader, they do infomercial.
That's a great way of putting it.
Well, they're
You
also very big sponsored. I don't know if it really helps their the price of the magazine with the amount of sponsors they get put in there and stuff to reduce the cost on production or whatever. But they're it's like you saying, Ron. Yes, they're really big on the just producing stuff and getting a product out there. Whether it's actual man hours put into it. They're just doing their 8 to 5 job, and it becomes more of a job for them more than something that they do that they love. Whereas all the rest of us that are doing this, it's our hobby, it's our stuff that we love to do to get away from the day-to-day hustle and bustle. And so it's something that we put a lot of heart into, and not bashing those guys by no means. I mean, I love Model Railroad and I love some of the stuff they do, but it's just with stuff like this, if they got more interactive with their subscribers. um, Cody, he does a good job with the Cody's office and taking the emails and replying to them and stuff like that in a very timely manner, to say the least. I mean, you pretty much put something on there, and if it's a pretty legit question, you're guaranteed the next Cody's office is going to get answered. However, you know, if they could come up with something like this and do whether it's a Google Hangout or a Model Railroader Hangout or something, and make it to where subscribers can pick their brains and actually see what it is that they actually have going on in their head for ideas of different ways to improve the hobby and improve the way people model and stuff like that. And it would definitely benefit and help not only their sales, but would just help the community as a whole, because one of the biggest problems that people get feared in this is it just looks like so much work, and they're just like, oh God, but they don't understand how much fun it is and how much enjoyment it is, us as modelers get out of it.
Yeah.
I agree with you. That's just exactly right. I mean, like I said earlier, I find the stuff that David Pop does much more thoroughly covered than like what Cody does and some of the other guys. Like I really followed their Oak Harbor project, or no, the Rice Harbor project, and it was just totally glossed over compared to a lot of the other videos I've seen. And like I know David Pop's working on the Olympia Logging Company, much more like a how-to type thing, but it's an interesting design that has led me and my friend Mike to come up with the idea for our Bath and Hammondsport project. Do the whole layout as a diorama type with the shadow box. So I still learn stuff from them, but I really do like the stuff David works on better. But I do like Cody's workshop and everything like that. I always learn little tidbits here and there. So for getting in for the $25 a year for the first 2 years, I can't beat it.
I thoroughly agree with you on that one, Barry.
Do you know how much it is to advertise in Model Railroader magazine?
I have never even attempted to find that out, but how
I
much
do.
it?
Oh my God. You know that the inside front cover and the back cover of the magazine, upwards of $10,000 per month.
Woo!
To get a page, it's common for a $3,000 page, per month. Those small advertisements that they get from the mom and pop shops and stuff like that, the North American companies who, not the Atherns, but the people like the BLMAs, who's just a small group, you know, they charge them $400 and $500 for the smallest of squares, you know, and it's often into the thousands of dollars per month to advertise in that magazine.
That's
So
ridiculous.
so you can understand how Model Railroad Hobbyist has cashed in on all these advertisers, because Model Railroad Hobbyist is, you know, they've got a, like they're starting their advertising around $400 and $500 a month, maybe $300 to $500. I haven't checked lately, you know. And my numbers on Model Railroader aren't exact because I haven't looked at them in about 4 months, but this is off the top of my head, so, you know, give or take, right? But Model Railroad Hobbyist, you know, their most expensive ad is, you know, maybe $1,100, or maybe, you know, it's not $10,000.
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, I think I've watched Model Railroad Hobbyist grow from what it was into Train Masters TV and changing the whole format with Gen 2 of the magazine. And while I still pay for Model Railroader, I really love every month getting Model Railroad Hobbyist and reading through it. Because I think it's a much more in-depth look at all the content than you ever have gotten from Model Railroader in years. I mean, what you see in the Hobbyist magazine now was Model Railroader 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So I can I mean, I actually love. I mean, I've met those guys a few times at different shows, you know, and they actually did a clinic on Trainmasters TV at Amherst in January. So I got to meet Joe Fugate and Barry, the producer of Trainmasters TV and stuff.
I think
And
he's Canadian.
what's that?
I think he's a Canadian, isn't he?
Yeah, because their studio is actually, I want to say it's in Ontario.
Yeah, that's where I live.
Yeah, I think it's an old restored train station. I think it's in Ontario.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, that's where the Trainmasters TV studio is, because I know not that long ago, I think it was in last month's episodes, they did an interview with John and his son from Train Control Systems about the wow sound and their keeper lives. So they had to go up to the studio up there and, you know, shoot it. And they got a lot of interesting stuff coming up this month. So I mean, I've with all this going on with the YouTube stuff, I haven't caught up on any of that stuff yet.
Yeah, that's funny because there's so much content coming out.
Yeah, with all this, it's just like insanely crazy. Yeah, I'm just signing up here for a Modelers Guild right now. That looks definitely interesting too, Ron.
Now, is there a way to expedite the process of that water drying on there, Ron? Like if you use a fan or something on it?
No,
Or is that a bad thing to do?
no, I don't know if it's a bad thing. I just, it's just one of those things that I plan into the modeling. You know, I start it in the morning and I stare at it all day till it's dry.
Actually, when I did that little clinic with Dave Ferrari, because we had 2 hours to get, he basically had the little wharf built and the square under it ready to paint water on. So we did all the scenery on the surface of the wharf, put like lichen all around the base for like seaweed, and then did the water effects. We were force drying things with a heat gun.
Yeah.
And as long as you're careful you don't melt something, it worked great. It didn't seem to affect how the water looked or anything. I mean, it dried nice and glossy like it should and stuff. So, I mean, something like this was great because you could actually go and do that when you're shooting the video, so you don't have to wait like 5 days for things to dry, so you go to the next step and the next step. You could try something like that.
It takes generally 24 hours to dry this stuff, except that you know, you'll see some parts where that's not dry yet, and it'll look like white, and that looks pretty good. You know, people say, "Oh, you did that on purpose." You know, it just means that it's not dry yet, but it shows you where you can add your white wave peaks. 'Cause that's what it kind of mimics.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are clinics from Dave Frere. I'd love to go into one. I know that he it's like they put everything but the kitchen sink in those clinics. I hate lichen. I don't
Yeah.
use it for anything. Not anymore.
We
Well,
only use tiny chunks of it, and we
I
painted
use
everything
tiny
blue
chunks
gloss.
of it, yeah, for bushes. I got one little section on this model that has lichen. Some maybe there's some right there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was rather interesting to do that little thing. I mean, that Fine Scale Expo was definitely worth every penny I spent on it. You know, I'm actually going. Oh, well, I haven't signed up yet, but I will be going next year when it's in Scranton because it's not that far from where I live at. You know,
It's
I'm
in the
driving
spring.
up there. And it's cool because I'm probably going to go with my buddy Mike a few days early and do some rail fanning up that way because Steamtown's nearby and everything. So, and actually, I convinced Junior to come along. Him and his
Uh,
wife are going to come out.
why isn't it usually in the fall?
Well, they took a poll last year, and in October or November, whenever we had it, and asked if any people would be interested in switching to the springtime. And it was a resounding yes. So they decided to move it to the end of March, but because it was November already, and they didn't have the time to plan one this year. That's why there is no Fine Scale Expo in 2014, but it will be. I think it's like 27th, 26th, 28th, something like that, around the end of March next year. And they're moving it around this time. They're going to Scranton. The thing is, I never got to go through because I had to work the weekend when it was in Strasburg, which would have been perfect because my club models is that railroad out there. So I didn't get to go that year, but I went the next year, and I'm glad I made it. So I'm going to start going every year.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to go. But being Canadian and all, I got my passport. I've been down to the States this year a couple times.
Well,
But
that'd be great to for you to come down because it's definitely was a very interesting thing. Some of the clinics are really enjoyable. I mean, I've gotten over the years going to Amherst, I've gotten to know most of the guys that sell things at the show there and everything, and that gave out the clinics and stuff. So I mean, it kind of makes me feel like I'm part of a real community of modelers. When I went there, and
yeah,
then Saturday night was the banquet dinner. They gave out the awards and everything like that. The people that come there and what they model is just incredible. The model room is. I should go take some of the photos I took and post them up, for everybody to see because the models were just incredible.
yeah. I look at the models every year. A guy, Jamie Zapita, takes
Mhm.
photos every year of that kind of stuff, and I'm a fan of. I go through them every year.
Yeah, I have to grab some. I got them. They're on my phone, so I uploaded it all to Dropbox. So I'll have to go ahead and put together a post on that because that there has inspired me to try and go to this level of modeling, like what you're doing here, and just take everything to another level. So I'm going to start working on some of the buildings, like I said, soon with my posts and stuff like that. Get videos out there of it as I'm doing it. I got a crap load of kit sitting downstairs, so. Yeah, the thing is, I've been buying them as I see them, and in case they disappear or whatever. And once I start my HLA, I'll have more places to put them in. the first deck will have a large collection of them on there. So that's where my harbor scene is, my small town's going to be. Uh, that's where my New River mining that everybody must build. It's a mandatory requirement to be a model railroad to build that model. So Mike is taking that to a whole new level. So it'll definitely make mine look just as good.
Yeah, I have yet to build that model. I actually have built very little plastic kits.
Oh, that's nothing to be ashamed of. If you get a good plastic kit, you detail it up right and work it over. I mean, it comes close to what these are, but it never quite makes that leap.
Well, I've got a couple of kits that I'm going to be building pretty soon here that are the quintessential plastic kit. The Helgen,
Oh,
a couple of European thickies.
yeah, yeah. And they have some interesting kits.
Well, the ones that I'm building, I'm building multiples of them, kit bashing them together into skyscrapers, kind of.
Oh, wow.
So it'll be fun.
Oh, that's funny you mentioned skyscrapers. I started last year, or this year, I should say. I started buying some of the buildings for my city scene in my upper deck, and I bought them from this guy, a place called Lundy Studios.
Yeah,
They were reasonably priced and beautifully detailed. You know, real nice thick resin cast walls and everything.
built a few this year. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, I, I didn't know it until I got to talk to this guy. I went back and I must have spent an hour or so talking with him. He's the guy that formed Magnuson Models
And the DPM kits.
and
Yeah.
DPM, did all the building kits for Bachman Spectrum city buildings, and now he is going independent and has created the company Lundy Studios. And he actually, when he builds all of his masters, they're all machine cut using a microfine milling system. So like his brick detail and lentil detail and everything is incredible because it's all machined with this high precision uh, machining system. And then he uses that to make his cast masters from. So they're just beautiful. And he casts them out of that the thicker resin, so the walls are nice and sturdy, and they give you really good relief detail and everything. I was like amazed. And I don't think I spent more than $60 on one kit.
Yeah, he's a pioneer of the hobby. His kits, they go up in class. Like the DPM kits are the real thick economy model. When you get up to the Magnuson models, they look pretty good, and those Lund kits they start getting. The only thing I don't like about those models, Barry, is painting the windows.
Yeah, that's always fun.
You
That's
gotta
the same
paint
thing
every
too.
single munion in there, and it's like I can't paint small areas like that without holding my breath. You know,
Yeah,
I sit there and I hold my breath for what seems to be hours and hours. Probably red in the face by the time I'm done.
yeah, I got definitely some well-used, really tiny paintbrushes for stuff like that. But yeah, you're right. It is incredibly time-consuming. I mean, you can spend an hour or two just painting their little DPM street side building with all the window details and everything like that. You know.
Yeah, that's to me is what's considered an old kit design
Yeah.
because you get these kits today where you can put the lower window sash, pull it up,
Yeah.
put it in any position you want. You don't have to use a razor blade.
Yeah. Well, I tried. I mean, I bought that model train software, but that the building system. That's
Oh
later
yeah.
around that, which isn't too bad. But a couple years ago, I bought like a whole bunch of CDs from Clever Models to start doing some paper building.
Yeah.
They have incredible ways of doing all relief detail and everything, but it's an actual challenge to try and get it to work right because, like, with the windows, you have to print it like 3 or 4 times and cut out the window frames and door frames, and I haven't figured out a good method yet for actually cutting out the real thin pieces without tearing them. So
Yeah.
I,
A real sharp blade.
yeah, the thing is, I read somewhere like to get the sharp corners to use a chisel blade and like punch them out. So that's what I'm going to try next before I go and cut the outside because I was doing one on just a little relay cabinet for the side of a track, and because it was like board and batten construction or racine metal, they had parts where you print out and it's just the seam frame. And I tried cutting it apart and it just falls apart. So I'm going to have to try it with a chisel blade and cut the corners out first and then cut the frame out of the sheet, see how it works out. But I've been printing the stuff with 110-pound cardstock,
Oh,
and it seems to hold up pretty nice.
right
So,
on. Yeah, I use model builder software from Evan Designs.
yeah, I bought that too a couple years back, and I like that actually. It's not too
Oh
bad.
yeah, I love it. You pick and choose which material you want to print out. You cut out what you need, and Bob's your uncle.
Yep. Yeah, it actually works pretty good. I actually took a plan book of Pennsylvania Railroad structures and have a basic build of a zoo tower in Philadelphia sitting in there waiting to go. So I think someone told me that the actual plan is wrong, so I'm going to compare the plan to some photographs. He thinks the window count's off. But he's actually supposed to be building a laser cut wood kit of zoo tower. So I'm waiting to hear from him about when it's going to be ready.
I'll tell you, one of the
We lost Barry.
oh, there he goes.
Hey Ron, could you do me a favor, bud, and send me
Sure.
the YouTube link to the to your Hangout, and I'm just gonna post it in some of these groups and make sure you got a good audience here.
I,
Uh,
I just blipped out completely.
the guest link or the front facing link?
No, the guest link, I was in here and all of a sudden it poof, it errored out of me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Now the
I,
YouTube link, there should be one that says YouTube on it.
I got it. Yeah.
yeah, I was connected into the live link earlier, just watching. Let's see if pull that up on my other laptop here.
It's in the chat, O'Keefe.
I
I
see
got it,
that.
buddy.
Thanks.
Yeah, let's see if that works actually.
Model builder software and clever models. You know, one of the nicest things about model builder software is, when everybody opens up a kit, the first thing they look at is that it's like some off pink or orange or gray color, and it looks nothing like the structure at all. So you're sitting there asking yourself, what the hell do I paint this, right? Model builder software, they've got all those textures in there and stuff, and you look at the different things, you match the paint to what those are, take hints from the weathering on them, and it's really good to, if you print out a small walkway that goes down an alley, nobody's ever going to notice that stuff.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's definitely something that could be very useful. You know, and even if you use it for a stand-in for a building, so you can use it to see what your final design is going to be like. You know, that's what
Yeah.
I'm planning on doing. I'm going to actually probably, I don't know if I'm going to do it in there or what, but I'm starting to draw up some plans for a station for the Hammondsport project I'm working on. So, even though the plans are a model wherever, I prefer to draw up my own. That way I can go and do detailed measurements when I'm done. and I'll probably model that and do it in cardboard just to flesh out how I'm going to build it and everything before I go buy materials. And there was a stand-in on the module for space planning and stuff like that. So, but have you ever checked out the Clever Model stuff?
Yeah.
You know, those have some nicely detailed buildings.
And they're on a heavy paper too when you buy them.
Yeah, I mean, you can buy I forget how many CDs worth of stuff they have, but I've bought like 5 or 6 of them now. It's got all kinds of neat buildings and everything. So they just came out with a new one this spring that I bought again, or this winter. I picked up like some waterfront stuff, I think it was. So I got to go check it out again. I actually got a couple of them printed out downstairs. I'm going to throw up on the bench and start working on them soon.
Hmm.
Definitely got to build one of the White Castles.
White Castles.
Ah, so you guys don't live in the New York, New Jersey area. White Castle is like, they're from a long time ago, but they were actually like a fast food burger joint.
You've got to see the movie White Castles.
Yeah, because basically the White Castles, the whole thing is you can go in there and buy like a hamburger. It's what they call a slider. I don't know what, 2.5 inches diameter. You buy them by the sack. Literally, it's like Gino posted something about he had a sack of Krispy Kreme donuts sitting there and said, "Ah, that looks like a good chaser for a sack of rat burgers." That's what we call everybody here around calls the White Castle burgers rat burgers. Literally, you go up there, you buy a sack of them, and there's got to be you can get them like a dozen burgers, and literally you can just pop them a couple bites and they're gone. You know. I actually finally got to go to one a bunch of years ago. I was taking my stepdaughter up to see her grandmom up in North Jersey, and I said, "There's got to be a White Castle in here." And on the way home, I found the one, and we went there and got ourselves a sack of rat burgers for the ride home.
Good times, good times.
Oh God, yeah! I tell you what, I'm ever since I really started doing some traveling with my friend Mike and everything, going to train shows and everything, we have such a blast, you know. And I always look forward. Like when we were at the Rare Museum last weekend, I went to his house and I stayed out at his house because it's like 2 hours closer than I am. And we always go home and hang out in his training room and work on things, or and then our road trips are just famous for how much fun we have. So I always look forward to them. So we'll be out there again in September, and we're going to do another live event. There's a mini NMRA clinic or convention going on there September 6th, I think. So once I get some times and stuff, I'll post it up. We're going to do a live clinic for TCS on the WOW sound decoders.
Are the NMRA active in your area?
Yeah, we have a couple divisions in our area, and they are pretty active.
Good.
This one actually is a new hobby shop in the area, and I think the guy must be a member. He's a member of the Susquehanna division. So he's actually working with the Susquehanna division to put on this mini convention right at the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania. So this guy that has a hobby shop, his piece is he's going to set up the clinics and stuff. The one clinic's going to like a make and take with a little like a little bar mills kit and stuff like that. And they asked TCS to come out and do a demo on the WOW sound. So there at the National Narrow Gauge Convention that week, they asked me and Mike to do the clinic for them. I've done enough clinics, so we're pretty comfortable with doing that. I mean, a couple months ago, I did one at a local hobby shop near me, as the owner, TCS John, came down to me and him put on like 4 clinics that day. So it's definitely it's fun. It's an easy product to sit and talk about, So I enjoy doing it.
Good. Yeah, I'm practicing. I don't do clinics yet.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's difficult to do this kind of stuff in a short time frame. You really have to pick and choose. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you know who Dave Ravella is.
Yeah. Well, I know who he is. I don't know.
Well, he put on a clinic last year at the Fine Scale Expo.
He's
And
probably
literally
one of the top 10 modelers in North America right now.
What's that?
He's probably in the top 10 modelers in North America right now, though.
Oh, I totally agree with that. The little thing he came out with, it was literally a laser cut like wall studs, and then you had a laser cut sheet of the sheath siding that was scribed so deep you just snapped the boards apart, and then we glued the individual boards on. Same with the floor base. You had the floor joists and the flooring boards, and then so we assembled this wall, and then we went into the real part of it, was how to detail it and weather it to make it look like a really old wood building. And the little techniques we learned, it's just like now I can see why a craftsman building looks the way it does because of the work. It's not building it; it's the weathering and the painting and all that kind of stuff. And it brought it to life. He showed us how to paint, weather it so like in the down, how the horizontal 2x4s, then the sole plays the floor, how to weather it also. It looks like there's dirt collecting there, and it was just simple stuff, but you never think of things like that until you see it done. It's like, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, last month I think it was last month, on Train Masters TV, they did a segment on his Suncoast Center for Fine Scale Modeling down in Florida.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever seen the video. The one layout they have is I think it's ON30 layout of it's like a swamp area called the Muskrat Ramble.
Um, who did that? Was that the Australian guys who did that?
No, I don't think so because that's actually down in the swamps down in Louisiana where it's modeling it, and it exists down there at the Fine Scale Center now. I'm not sure who actually built it. I have the DVD of it.
I'm pretty sure that's all their names all dropped off my. Oh, they're on the tip of my tongue. I believe they're from Australia, and they got an invitation to come down to the Fine Scale Expo or the last Craftsman Structure Show, whatever it was,
Yeah.
and they brought the whole layout with them, and I think it was bought by Dave Revella. You know,
Ah, okay.
you know what else Dave Revella does, eh?
No,
He
what?
he owns. You ever seen Pods? Those
Yeah.
pod storage.
Storage pods?
He owns that company.
Now I know where that bastard gets all his money from to do his fun stuff down there in Florida.
And I think his layout is F scale.
Yes, that thing is a beast, and like it's it's as much work to move that, if not more, than moving our 117-foot monster.
Holy cripes, that would be like moving a house, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I was
Like
just
an,
amazed. I didn't know that would move.
an F scale locomotive's got to be a couple pounds.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, basically F scale. I think F scale is 129th or something like that. It's all that stuff. There's like three different scales.
124.
There's G scale and then the LGB version of it. So one was like 124th. I think the real original LGB is
132.
yeah. There's 132nd. There's 129th, and then there's the LGB, which is 122 and a half. So and they're all so close that you could use one for the other and never know any damn difference, except unless you got out the scale roller.
It's got one description. It's big.
Yep. I remember there was a guy down our area. He bought himself a laser cutter and started building some kits to sell. And he brought one to one of our club train shows one time. It was a G scale 250-ton crane. It must have been, I want to say, at least 3 feet long. Everything was laser cut acrylic.
Oh my god.
It was incredible. I mean, like, it was as real as the real one, but smaller. I mean,
That's
like on the face of the steps where it says, watch your step and stuff. all laser etched in, and then he filled it with like I forget what he said, some kind of chalk powder or something that sealed it. So the lettering is sharp, crisp. I mean, every detail. I mean, it was incredible the work he put into that thing. I mean, if we were to sell that, it would probably be like $1,000.
Easy.
You know.
And down where you live, there's customers for that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's actually a fair amount of people that like that G-scale stuff down here. We have this giant South Jersey Garden Railroad Club in the area down here, and they have all kinds of neat stuff. And one of our members, well, every one of us has a piece of G-scale. The only thing I have is I have an Aristocrat RDC, because we're down in the Pennsylvania Reading Seashore Lines area. So every one of us, I think, has at least one PRSL RDC. I got two in HO. I got the one in G scale that my friend John gave me. So that's either going to go outside here or inside the house on a suspended track. But John has a humongous backyard layout, and he likes to, because he lives in Florida in the wintertime, and he likes to model CSX.
Oh,
So
okay.
we every year we have an op session down at his house during the summertime. So we haven't planned the date yet. But that might be something if I can get a good Wi-Fi signal to just throw up a hangout and say, everybody come on, join, take a look, and put a couple webcams out and point at the track. Because he had to break it up into power districts this year to run this new engine he got. It's a Aristocrat SD45 CSX. He wants to use it to pull his G-scale intermodal stack train. But it's dual motor, so it takes 5 amps to run the thing by itself.
Oh my goodness.
So he bought a bunch of PM42s or APM42 and wired it up into multiple districts with a 20 amp power supply, just so he could have that always in its own district and running.
Oh wow.
But he tore up like half his layout when he was raising it up on pylons. So I think he said he's going to expand it more. He used to go all the way to the back of his yard, which was probably like 800 feet away, and had like a replica of Miami Station and passenger train yard down there, and he had a replica of the Tropicana juice plant so that he could run a juice train. So he's thinking about re-adding all of that because he got his hips and knees redone, so now he's feeling much more spry at 75.
Okay, guys, so I'm gonna go get a coffee here.
All right.
And what I had planned for this is I have one unlisted video on my account that's just talking about making the roads that you can see in the background over here.
Right.
It's only 7 minutes long, so we get a little break. If you guys want to stick around, that's cool.
Yeah, I can definitely stick around for that.
Yeah, I watched that video earlier today. It's pretty cool. You said it's unlisted, Ron?
It started out listed, and somebody commented on it, so I just unlisted it because I wanted it to be part of the show, kinda. So I'm gonna make it public now, and then put it as part of this video as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
Just starting to get a little geeky with this Hangouts thing.
Yeah. Sometimes these things have a way of morphing themselves.
You learn a new trick, or you get an idea sitting on the back porch with a beer.
Exactly. Well, sometimes, it's not bad to do this in this way because then when you share the ideas, then everyone else can see them later if they want to watch.
Yeah.
It's different when we're sitting and just hangouts amongst ourselves, We're still sharing the ideas, but no one else gets the benefit of that,
Exactly. This is going live, and then later I'll.
Oh, you muted yourself, Ron.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, you muted yourself.
Okay. Probably did it on purpose.
Well, you hear some funny sounds in the background?
Hey guys, so you want to build some roads, right? Well,
I'll show you the easy way how to do it in a few simple steps. So sit tight while I show you how to do roads the right way, the easy way. Well, my way. So our first tutorial today is how to make city streets. Now this city street isn't done yet. I just did a couple of steps here so that I could do this little tutorial or how-to quicker. These streets are made out of what's called a panel board. As you can see, it's got foam on the inside. Foam on the inside that you could scratch and bend up, and it's got paper on each sides of it, as you can see. So what I like to do is, leaving the paper on, is I like to put some cracks in it before I get to cutting it to the width. So as you can see, lots of cracks are showing up in this road here now. Maybe you can't see it, but trust me, it's there. There's a bunch of cracks right here. And what I do is I peel off the back. I use my weld bond glue and I place it down to the width of a road. This here is going to be a concrete pad for my scratch build shop here. So first step is to get your panel board. Second step is to crinkle it up. Third step is to glue it down. Fourth step is to paint the shadows. Anybody who's seen a tutorial or how-to from me knows that I like to paint from the bottom on up. And in this case, the bottom is the shadow inside the cracks. Inside the cracks. So I'm going to go around here and just paint this a flat acrylic black and let it dry completely. The black is going to sit in the cracks. If you can see white, I'd paint in there a little bit farther, maybe add a little water to your brush so the paint will run down the cracks. This doesn't have to be perfectly black. As you can tell, this is showing a bunch of the white through. It's just that we want the cracks to be perfectly black. So I'll just paint the top of this, and I'll come back and do the sides all nice so that I don't get black all over my dirt. I'm rushing here because I'm on film, but you know, when you're doing it on your time, get a nice coffee or beer, sit down and have at it. So that step is painting black, adding the shadows. The last step is to this brush that I was using is a coarse bristle brush that I like to use for all kinds of stuff because it'll last forever. However, putting on the last step is going to take a finer brush, finer bristle brush, because we don't want to have too much painting lines into the road. We want to have it splotchy. I'm using my generic concrete paint that I got made up at Lowe's. Color matched it to what I figured was a good concrete color. Add water to my paintbrush. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the lines, the cracks in the pavement, and I'm going to paint along them so that I don't try not to paint in them. Paint will fall into them because we added water to the brush. However, you know, we want to leave some cracks in and around. This being the first coat, you'll get to see lots of black through the paint. You know, sometimes I paint over the cracks too. It's not a big deal to paint inside the cracks, but it's nice sometimes to find one and follow it and just make it stand out that little bit more. Now some people dry brush this on so that they can get the full effect of the cracks in the road. Some people splotch on. I'm going to take off most of the paint and splotch this area here. I'm going to run up along the crack. That's the first layer. So I'm going to do, I'm going to let this dry completely, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and I'm going to touch it up with concrete paint where I feel like it needs to be added. If I need to retouch up, add some black, I'll use a really small brush to get black into that area. But as it stands, I'm going to wait for this concrete pad to dry, and then I'm going to add my concrete color to it, and I'll allow both of them to dry, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what I do to finish it off. So the last step to this process of making a road is adding your final details. We've got I get these little manhole covers from my friends at Imagine That Laser Art. I could cut that in there if it fit the era, but it doesn't, so it won't. But you could add manhole covers. You could add manhole covers and stuff like that. So actually that kind of doesn't look too bad. All I'm doing here is picking up some paint around the cracks. This is inside a workshop that'll be placed on here, so I'm going to leave this nice and clean looking now and let it dry all the way because it gets much less work on it and it actually gets cleaned sometimes. Not saying in the past few years, but you know what I mean. So now I'm going to take my isopropyl alcohol. As you can see, I don't care much if it's 99% or 70%, as this is 70% alcohol. And I got India ink inside this. I add about 50 drops to a jar, to a bottle like this. I think it's 500 milliliters. Yep. So, and I stick my spray top nozzle in it, and I set the spray top nozzle to mist. So now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray the road twice So what that's going to do is all the alcohol is going to fall down into the cracks that we made in the first step by bending the panel board. And it's going to sit in there and it's going to look black as a puddle. And sooner or later that alcohol is going to dry and highlight, or low light as it happens here, those cracks for the final product. So this next step will be completed tomorrow after this is good and dry. So as an added step, I'm gonna go rogue here and try some other weathering solutions on this, just to see how this all pans out. Come over here and grab my brown. Got some rust. So I have a black version of MIG washes, but I'm going to use the brown on the driveway here, and some in the corners around the edges of the shop. I'm going to try out this Model Tech Studios weathering solution. I have a feeling it's like Indian ink and alcohol. I'm going to test that on this pad over here to see how it works. And I might bring it in and try it in the middle of this, in the middle of the mechanic's shop, so that I can, just test out its effectiveness. I have a black oily version of the MIG washes, and we'll use that at the very end because it is I want to see the effects of this before I use that, because that'll overpower anything that I put on. So we're going to start with I'm going to use a brush that I don't normally use because this is an oil. This is a light brush. Okay. This wash settles, so give it a good shake to get as much pigment in the oil as possible. This seems to be, to me, like a linseed oil style weathering solution. It works really well to mimic oil, because it is an oil really, but it settles a lot. The black settles too, and I might get some linseed oil to add to this just to have it last me a little longer, because I really like it. So shook it up real good. We're going to use the brush with no water on it because this is an oil wash. So I'm just going to start painting the path up to just the little splotches here and there. Then, like I said, go around the outside of the shop. Now the thing about this wash is that it'll spread. So in the front corner you might see it look like it's really thick and looking like a blob of paint that should be spread out. It'll spread out. Go around and highlight these cracks. I'm going to let this sit in for a minute because, like I said, it's going to spread out like oil, and it's a really cool effect. Okay, so moving on. Now I'm not really going to use this brown for anything more. I'm going to maybe put a brown blotch like this and run it this way, and then put my oily MIG wash at the very end around there. But next we're going to try Model Tech Studios aging solution. Which is an isopropyl based solution, as I can smell here. So I'm just gonna just brush it on liberally around here. Now I like to run my brush the direction of travel, I like to say. As if I'm doing a wall, the water's going to run up or down the wall. So I'll run my brush up and down as opposing to brushing it sideways, because the travel on the wood for weathering is up and down. So like this road, I'm going up or along where the traffic would travel. And I think that stain really added a lot to that. I like that. It looks really good. I think I'm going to add it to the garage too. Not so liberally. I'll wipe off my brush. Thanks for watching our video today on making roads out of panel board the easy way. Again, if you like these videos, please comment, like, or subscribe, or maybe do all three. And I really appreciate you watching my videos. Thank you. Have a great day. Okay, that's done. Did it work for you guys?
No, it's because you're doing the part of your broadcast, so it only shows for the actual video side.
Oh, on YouTube.
Yeah, it's in your control panel, so we are unable to see it, but I saw it before.
Is there any way to do a screen share when Hangouts on there?
I'll figure it out. If I have to do it, I'll edit it in
There you go.
for the recorded show.
Yeah.
I knew that there was a way to add a YouTube video, but this, I don't know. I'm still learning. So.
Well, I'll keep an eye out for the video when it goes live.
As you can see, some of this Mod Podge is drying.
Yeah.
It's just the peaks that'll take some time to get done. And what I did here was, let me grab a full stick. For my pilings, all I did was I grabbed a couple of shish kebab skewers, the medium-sized ones from the grocery store, and painted them black. And I took two different, like a slightly different size on each. I just broke them with my fingers, and I'm gonna. Oop, there goes one. Oh, okay. Dang, little details are fragile. So then I grab my tire and I glue it to the outside at the right level, and I pull the string in between the pilings. Oop, broke it apart. That glue will stick. No worries. Between the pilings, and I'll crazy glue the string that comes out at the back into the back. Then I'll come back with my, see, this string is waxed string, and I'll do a couple of rounds, and I'll make sure that I glue both ends of the string on the back piling and then glue it into place.
We get a close-up of the piling?
This one's falling apart in my fingers, so I'm going to go like this. So all I did was painted them black, and they came back with my concrete color. What I'll do after they've been cured is add the green you see on this model back here. And that all that is a Tamiya military tan green.
Yeah, that looks really nice.
That's great.
That color really suits it perfectly.
Oh yeah. I don't know if it's because of the area I live in. There's lots of cement plants, stone quarries, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of limestone. So I try to get that limey color in everything that I do. I just went down to North Carolina and noticed they've got that red soil down there. It'd be real interesting to do a module of North Carolina or something like that.
Yeah,
The
good
layout
old
I'm building is
Springfield.
actually based off of little area that I'm from in North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Where are you from?
A little town called Laurinburg, but the railroad that I'm modeling is it's the Aberdeen and Rockfish, but it's a short line that runs through from Aberdeen up to Fayetteville, Rayford area, North Carolina. One of
Yeah.
its main areas is a actual ethanol plant. But what I'm doing is I'm doing my own little spin on it and adding some a rock quarry and different things of that nature, like the rock quarry my dad works at. Um, I'm adding a cement plant in there that will get, of course, aggregate from that same rock quarry, and then I'm putting also a statuary plant in there that my uncle owns that will ship out statues via rail car to different areas in the country.
Cool.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So where's that at in North Carolina?
Aberdeen, Rockingham area.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. I mean,
Familiar with the North Carolina Motor Speedway?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, the Lowe's Motor Speedway, or is it?
Oh no, that's in Charlotte.
Oh,
You know
okay.
where Fayetteville is?
Where was?
Fayetteville,
Yes.
Rayford.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not too far from there, about 45 minutes south of there.
So you're down in the
Southwest.
southeast area. Okay.
Yep.
I'm going back to New Orleans or North Carolina in the end of August, I think.
It's a great time to go down there when it's nice and warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the hurricanes are coming.
I used to go to Georgia in August sometimes, in deep South Georgia, like a mile north of Florida, and or an hour north of Florida. I used to get 105-degree, 110-degree days, you know.
Oh yeah, it's crazy hot down there, especially for a Canadian.
Yeah, yeah.
You hear the fear in my voice.
Well, here's the funny part that you say that, Ron, is I'm used to live in a little town called Yuma, Arizona when I first uh, joined the military,
Yeah,
and during the winter season we have what we call the snowbirds.
yeah.
A lot of them are Canadians who come down to Yuma and hang out for a while.
Florida's full of them.
Oh yeah. That's what me and my wife are gonna do when we retire. Just she runs her family's ice cream business, you know, and so we'll work there during like April to October, and then we'll retire in Florida over the winter. I already picked up the model train club and we're joining down there.
Sounds like a plan. I'll probably be one of those snowbirds, definitely.
Well, if you ever end up in the Arizona, California area or North Carolina area, again, just let me know. And if you're definitely in Arizona and I'm still in the West Coast, I'll show you around some good places, some good railroad site places, and show you the club that I'm a part of. And
Oh,
if you're
cool.
ever in the Southern California area, I know a lot of places down there as well.
Right on. I'll totally contact you for when we're going to North Carolina.
Okay, so when are you coming back stateside? If you,
November timeframe?
oh, cool. I mean, how long you gonna be back?
Oh, I'll be back for a while.
Oh, cool.
Where are you now?
Get back. It'll be that good model railroad season when I get back. So I'll be in my prime with all of you guys getting me all pumped up about wanting to do some modeling. I'll jump on my layout, feet running.
Two
You said
guns
you're in
together.
Okinawa right now, right?
Yes.
Where are you at now?
I'm over in Okinawa, Japan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've got them from around the globe here, Ron.
That's awesome.
Definitely.
No, it's what we do with our lives, that wanderlust, and serving the world really as what you do, serving for the armed forces. That's you know, that's something to remember.
Yes, it
I
is.
served, I served with some Canadian guys when I was in Afghanistan. A lot of really good guys. A lot of really good guys.
Thank you for your service.
No problem.
Absolutely, my friend.
Yeah, we're fun. We're a fun group.
Except for that clown Justin Bieber.
We're a little different. Oh, come on, that Bieber. I kind of grew up in the same town he did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's just, I don't know, all those stars like that, they just all end up being idiots, no
Well,
matter what country they're from.
yeah. There, you've got the point. That's the point right there. Case in point. He was such a good kid when he was younger. He never got in trouble with the police or anything like that. Now he's super rich. You know, he's got
Super stupid.
he's got all the most beautiful girls in the room going after him. You know, he's doing what most of us might have done if we were in this situation.
Probably. Much money in that age makes you really stupid really fast.
Oh yeah, so like I blame him, but I understand also kind of in a small way what he's going through, they're
Yeah, yeah.
too much too fast.
Way too much for me. I mean, at this
Yeah.
point, I'm intelligent enough. Like, if I hit the lottery, as long as I got X amount of dollars, I will be able to retire and be smart about spending my money.
Oh yeah. I'd build myself a nice fortress.
Well, I think after I paid all the bills off, got me and the wife a nice house, maybe a place in Florida to vacation to and stuff. Then I think the next thing I would do is build a permanent clubhouse for my train club so we could put our layout in where it belongs and really expand it out and make a really nice place for all of us to go run our trains and have fun. And then I
Yeah.
think I'd give some money, go up to Altoona and try and say, how much money is it going to take to get K41361 back on the rails under steam?
So you just want to give the rest of your money away.
Well, yeah, supposedly they have enough money now to put it under steam, but I'm vague on what the definition of under steam is because before they talked about it would be impossible to do it, and then they said, oh, well, we found a way where we can do it and just keep it on the property at low pressure. But then they said a couple months ago they got like $1.45 million and we had to put it back in operation, but it didn't qualify it any.
Huh.
And the thing is, the biggest problem is the crown sheet of the boiler is too thin now, and the stable design won't meet modern specifications for use in excursion.
Yeah.
Well, that can be fixed. There's places around that can do that. Hell, I mean, 3 or 4 hours away, they can take it to Strasburg Railroad. They can redo it. They can recreate the whole crown sheet and everything. They're redoing Long Island Railroad's G5 number 39, and
Yeah.
they're going to be operating it for like they have a 20-year lease to operate it once it's rebuilt. And they could have done the K4, but I don't know. I think it was totally politically mismanaged by all the parties involved. And so the best chance is where it's at now at the Altoona Railroad Memorial Museum.
Yeah.
So we'll see something. Then there's lunatics who are trying to raise $20 million to build a brand new Pennsylvania Railroad T1 from scratch.
Come on.
Yeah, it's called the T1 Trust, and they are dead serious about it. They've already got a company lined up that could actually fabricate the locomotive.
You know, $20 million could build 1 million railroads across the country.
I know.
1 million model railroads easily.
It just cracks me up. I mean, I think it's a cool idea, but seriously, guys, if you have that kind of money
$100,000.
to pour into something like that, there's a lot better things you could do with it.
$100,000, and I could get you build with that money. You build your own building, and inside there, build a full layout. Like building probably $30,000 or something, 70,000 for the layout. I build you a rock solid railroad that would be put in every magazine around the world.
You're absolutely right.
$20 million.
Yeah, and that's a conservative estimate.
You know what? We're all our own artists basically. Everybody's got their own thing that they're promoting, they're passionate about, they're doing what they're doing, you know. Thank God there are people like that who dream big.
Oh God, yeah.
Somebody's got to make that 20 million somewhere.
Well, that's true, and trust me, if I see that thing in operation around Horseshoe Curve, I will think I've died and gone to heaven, just like when the K4 hits it someday. Maybe in my lifetime. I mean, I could have had a chance last summer. They ran an excursion around Horseshoe Curve with nickel plate Berkshire 765. I didn't go on that one, but if that K4 hit, I would mortgage my life to get on that thing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what,
What's that?
I was gonna say, I went to visit if you guys have never seen the Wyoming division that's being built up in Arizona. I think I told you about this before, Barry. But I visited this past summer. Yeah. No, summer before last. visited the Wyoming Division Model Railroad. It's up in a little town up in Arizona outside of Cottonwood. And I tell you what, man, this guy, he's already done everything he needed to do with his life. He loves trains. He loves to have people play with trains. And he dedicated a building, I mean a huge building, to building his dream layout of
Nice.
the Wyoming Division up in Utah. And of the Union Pacific. And
Oh,
I believe I can't remember what era it is, but I mean, I think it takes, in order for him to do this double-decker layout, in order for the train to make one complete loop, you're talking a good 2 hours. Um, and the amount of just detail he went into to make sure that he was just as much on point as he could. And the thing is just about anybody. I mean, if you, Ron, for instance, were going into Arizona and I gave you his email address, just the nicest man you'll ever meet
Oh,
that
really?
will allow anyone to come in there, whether you're a novice or a professional modeler, go in there and
wow.
just do your best is all he asks, is to go in there and do your best, and he'll let you build, operate, as long as you stay within the parameters of what they ask in the rules and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and come in there and just treat you like royalty. I
That's
mean, you
incredible.
couldn't ask for more. And I mean, the man deserves everything he's got because the way, just how he treats people. I
Yeah.
mean, you
Well,
see
that's
these
a
people
big
with
thing.
money, and sometimes they take advantage of people. But this man, I mean, the sweetest people you'll ever meet
Well,
that
I'll tell you what.
definitely do a darn good job at upholding and introducing the hobby to people. But
Yeah.
I could show you guys a link to the web page where he has a bunch of pictures posted. But it was a real treat. I didn't get to meet him personally because he wasn't there. He was on vacation. But my grandfather-in-law spent the whole summer up there last year just working on that railroad and had
Oh,
an
really?
amazing time.
Oh, that's cool.
Fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what makes this hobby great. Those little gems, those people who, you know, they make, you know, they're so nice. All they want to do is share what they've built, or, in his case, what him and all his friends and new friends built.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone on a bunch of layout tours at conventions and stuff like that. And some of the people I've met are just really cool people.
Yeah.
And the one I have yet to go to, and I want to, and maybe one of these years when the Fine Scale Expo goes back up in the New England area, is go get to see George Celios's layout. But I have an open invitation from Jimmy Dignan of Railroad Kicks to come to his house anytime I want and go see the famous Pensy Middle Division layout that he has. That was a layout that was built in MR for
Yeah.
for Combat to tour at Greenberg shows when they owned it. It's built by Dave Ferrari,
Yeah.
and it got sold off and shifted around. And finally, Jimmy saw it and bought it, and then they've expanded it and split it in the middle and added a huge peninsula out. And during him and Dave Ferrari and Doug Pascali and Hal Reynolds all were working on it, Jimmy got into an accident and now he can't walk.
Well,
So everything has been lowered down so he can operate and everything. So
yeah.
what he does is he's into craftsman structures. He
Yeah.
has over 200 buildings that are all craftsman style buildings on that layout.
Yeah, I know who he is. I followed him closely over the Scotty Mason show, the
Yes.
original Scotty Mason show, and then follow it. I built a few of his kits and stuff like that. Scotty Mason was built part of that layout too, didn't he?
Yes, yes. He was involved. There's a giant, I mean, humongous blog post on about the whole event, or how he found it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
at one time he had owned the
I read
Flintshire Railroad that MR built and everything. And
it
then when
was
he bought
sitting
this,
in
he
a
just
like a
had to have
shed
it.
or something. The layout was sitting in a shed somewhere or a barn, like totally not even being used. And when he got it,
Yeah, yeah.
it was in terrible
And,
shape or something like
yeah,
that.
he found it like an eBay or something like that. You know, it was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to go see that layout. Like, Jimmy runs a nice site, that Kip Forums.
Yes, he does actually. I haven't got. Wow. I just clicked that link you sent it over to say, and I'm like, oh my lord, that thing is flipping huge.
What link?
The link that he just posted in the chat for the Wyoming division.
Oh, okay.
I ain't never seen a layout that big in my life. Holy shish kebab.
Like I told you, man,
I'm
that
up.
guy, he dedicates every single thing that he has to that right there.
That is incredible.
Oh
Yeah,
my
he
God.
has three, as far as I know, three full-time employees who work on that layout day in and day out, and all they do is lay track, build bench work, and he actually finished the last of the bench work, if I'm not mistaken. Is now everything's in place. It's just a process of laying the track, and he's not even worried about scenic right now. He just wants to get all track laid and be ready to do operations. And he's already been having open houses for operations and everything in there.
Sure.
And I mean, just an amazing, amazing uh,
It looks like he's got the whole bloody UP model
layout.
there.
Yeah,
Oh, I can imagine taking 2 hours to circumnavigate this thing. I remember when the national convention was at Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, and they brought the biggest collection at that time of N-track modules. They had 15,000 square feet of N-track modules, and it took one of their pole drags 45 minutes to circumnavigate the layout. That can't even hold a candle to this thing. Wow, that's insane.
That's
That's definitely a bucket lister for model railroaders.
I want one.
Me,
I
if
actually there
if
was
that was Pepsi, I would have died and gone to heaven.
that area right there where you're at right now, Ron.
Yeah.
There's a pump house that's going to go right beside where those two buildings are, where the cars, the hoppers are right there on the siding. Right in
Yeah,
that
yeah.
area, there's a
Yeah.
pump house that was going to go to the left of that. And that was my task when I was there, was to scratch build the pump house. I never got it finished.
Oh, wow. Right on.
And I was thinking to myself, they were like, scratch build this, and I have no scratch build experience hardly whatsoever. And I was like, but if I scratch build this, I was like, guaranteed one day this is going to be in model railroader or model railroad hobbyist, and I
How
can
could
say
it?
I had a piece of that layout.
How
Exactly.
could it not be?
Exactly. I'm gonna like I've got two models going towards a museum layout right now, and they just got me set up to build one of the big bridges. So
Mm,
I think I'm also gonna get one of those spots.
that is just amazing. I can't
Yeah,
top it.
that'd be a nice achievement. Make it.
Oh yeah, that is just incredible. I mean, I haven't done any scratch building for years, but most everything on our club layout, like except for some of the houses, is all scratch built. I mean, like the first building I did was the actual railroad museum itself, and it's a curved building, but it's like the block walls are like in columns almost. It comes out like 2 feet, goes like 6 or 8 feet, goes back in 2 feet, and just repeats along the curve. I built the whole thing using foam core and Colgate and Reynolds concrete block and brick on the outside because it had a brick base, and it's like 2 feet wide and about almost 4 feet long. I built it from a photograph on an aerial photograph on a postcard. I sat there and measured the dang thing with dial calipers. It took me months to build that building. And then when they added the train shed expansion, we actually got plans But that is all built per the plan, right from all the structural shapes. So like there was
Hey,
an H column or something.
Beery, not to interrupt you, but Ron has this picture up right now. This is the it's freaking ice
Ogden
loading
dock.
dock.
What?
And
Ogden ice dock.
and if I'm not mistaken, this is only half of it.
It will be 9 feet long on the layout.
Yeah.
So this will
Holy
be
crap.
4.5. Oh no, that's got to be that's 9 feet.
That
Yeah,
says
that's
it's
gotta
8
be
feet
it
of it
there.
there.
Yeah, that's it.
Holy Christmas. So I guess that's where like Pacific Fruit Express or something would ice the reefers.
Yeah.
Wow,
Wow.
cool.
Oh man.
No, those are, that's an old Rube Goldberg machine there,
You aren't kidding.
The way they used to do things, just get her done.
There you go, exactly. I to see this with scenery someday.
Yeah, I'd be, does he have a laser cutter there?
This here's a narrow gauge portion of the layout right there. That little mine area. That's
Yeah.
gonna be a narrow gauge.
Does
Oh
he,
wow.
does he have a laser cutter?
Um, you know, there is if you go to eventually you'll get to the pictures of the actual building, but you'll see that there's a full-size shop off to the side of this building. It's like the size of a three-car garage.
Oh, wow.
It's nothing but the shop for doing all the woodwork and everything that goes into this layout. And the amount of tools and things he has in there, there's no telling what he has.
Wow. I'd totally go live there to work.
You aren't kidding. That'd be like a fantasy job.
Yeah, it's like this job that I'm going to be starting at the end of the summer is for the Miniature Land Museum in Ontario, and it's going to be a big one in a warehouse like this.
Oh,
Well, I
cool.
don't know if it's going to be this big, but it's starting to look like it's going to be something like this. Probably about half the size, though.
Well, how big is this building?
At the beginning, it looked pretty big. Looked like
Yeah.
a 60 by 80, or I used to build buildings like this.
That's holy Christmas.
Some people's toys, right?
No kidding, man. I always thought if I ever had the money, well, how big would I make a building for a layout? You know? I think I'd make it pretty dang big.
Yeah, this one looks probably about 60 by 80, even larger.
That is incredible. I can't even imagine who the heck designed this thing. That guy's got to win an award just for the design of the layout.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'd do scenery every day, 12 hours a day.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, and the neat thing is, you might look at desert scenery as boring, but it's really not. I mean, there's a lot of detail that can really make desert scenes that pop out.
Oh yeah, it just takes a little bit of creativity to make sure you go that extra step.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate it when I see a city street that is like barren of, people and garbage. And
Yeah.
I seen that video. There's a guy, KU4PC or something like that, who he just put out a video. That was the most realistic thing I've seen in a long time.
Huh.
It crumpled paper on the ground and everything. He just recently put it out. I think you commented on his video, Barry.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
I don't know if his name is Eric or.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can find it. I'm sure I subbed them. So KU4PC.
Yeah, I think that's who it was.
Yeah, the 15th Street HO layout.
Yeah. Did I
That's
get a
it.
name right?
Yes.
Right on. You know what they say?
KU4PC.
Call me what you want, but just spell my name right.
Yeah, I mean, when I first looked at that thing, because apparently it looks like the video was shot outside, because the natural sunlight, it was damn hard to tell that that was not a real train. You know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The building is a 50 by 75 foot with a 36-foot shop building.
Holy smoke.
30 by 36-foot shop building.
Okay, someone's just showing off now. That's just that's just mind-boggling. I'm just looking at that thing, saying, "Oh, I can see how many puffball trees I'd have to make to put the scenery in that layout." It was that's
Hey,
nightmare.
you know what? You build something like that, people are going to be in that club. If he gets that thing on the TV every year, he make a business out of that club.
Oh
And the
yeah.
thing is he doesn't want that's the funny part about it, Ron, is he doesn't even want to do that. There's no dues. There's none of that for these guys that go and be a part of the Wyoming Division quote unquote club. They just have to know the rules, be able to be like on the registry, and Veril, the owner of the place, know them and get to know them before he allows them to go in there and of course run on the layout or whatever, or be associated with someone who's a full-time employee slash member of the area of the club. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. There's no dues, no nothing. Everything that goes into that layout, he pays for it.
Wow.
So he's the boss.
He's the boss.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Sometimes that has merit as well, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've seen so many clubs that people come and go because of stupid political squabbles. You know, there's one in our
Personal.
area that they lost a bunch of members because the president had his sons or something or friends in there, and like I know one guy, a friend of mine, Ed, he went in and built this whole interurban bar. Did a really nice job too. And one day he came in and it was gone. So the owner, the guy who's like the president of the club, his son came in and decided he wanted to put something up there and just ripped out all the work that Ed did. So Ed walked out, just took his ball and went home.
Yeah,
A
there's
few
a
of them have
story.
done that because of stupid stuff like that. And then there's other clubs that I know that, they're losing their lease on their building after being there 15, 20 years. Now they got teared gorgeous layout apart. I mean,
Yeah, that's happened a few times around here.
yeah, I know at least one club that's in limbo right now whether they're going to lose their place now. Out uh, like north of Lancaster, called the Anthracite Short Line. Like four of the members in that club are part of our club too, and yeah, they think they may lose their building after like 15 years, but they're still there right now. So they're still working on it, assuming that they're going to get to keep it. But the guy that owns it wants to sell off the space and use for like rental space.
Yeah.
Because the doctor's practice that has the office upstairs may be moving. They said, well, if I'm losing them, I got to get more people in there. I might as well offer the whole building to them. But it's not cast in stone yet. But I mean, they're considering if this happens, they may end up tearing the layout down and go to like a round robin club between all the members' houses.
Yeah. That's got merit too, though.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a club near me, the Pat Kong Valley. They actually own their own building, which is nice. But they're in a town called Richland, New Jersey, and that's one of the ends of the Cape May Seashore Line tourist railroad. So they actually, during the summertime, they have a lot of open houses because when the Seashore Line runs, they run from Richland to Tuckahoe and back again, and so they get people coming, a lot of foot traffic, people going over there. They've got a waiting list of people trying to join their club.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but the thing is, they're like 90% built now. There's one section they have to finish building, and after that, I mean, building work and machinery and everything's all done, so it's going to just be operations. So maybe by that time the club might thin down. It's only like a 20-minute drive from my house, so I was thinking I put my name on the waiting list, but I never heard back from anybody, so I have to go contact them. The next time they have open house, I'll stop over there.
Politics.
Oh yeah, well, that's why I don't want. That's why I like our club. Is we literally go to shows and set up layouts like on tabletops, or we have 3 traveling modular layouts that we take around. Big Strasbourg one, and then we have an Atlantic City line and the Pennsylvania Reading Seashore line. They're like 10 by 20 size ovals, and so we take them out to a lot of the smaller shows. Like at our club event coming up next month, we're going to have the PRSL on or set up in the church, and then we may take it out when we go down to Cold Springs Village in Cape May in the summertime. So that's right on the PRSL main line and used to go into Cape May, and maybe Cape May Seashore Line might run a train down there. Well, they used to, but the thing was they had a bunch of tracks vandalized. But they had a mile of track. People actually smashed the ties and sold spikes and tie plates for scrap. And they were in a battle with Jersey Transit over who's supposed to maintain it. They leased the right of way, but New Jersey Transit owns the tracks, and they're trying to get out of paying and repairing the tracks. And the Cape May Seashore Line, even though they do have a freight business, don't have the money to repair a mile of track. It's like $1 million.
Yeah.
Then when they started freight up, they kind of screwed themselves in the tourist operation, because now the FRA said, well, you have a bridge over a river, you have to go ahead and have a full-time bridge operator, and he didn't want to pay for that. So then he segmented the line 2 separate pieces for pasture operation. So he's a little on the tightwad cheap side.
Hey, Donnie.
Hey, Donnie. Well, that wood are starting to dry nice there, Ron.
Yeah. Found this piece of the netting. Forget what the product was. Veil.
Oh, like bridal veil?
Yeah, bridal veil that I painted black and then came back with some camo tan.
Oh, okay.
That looks pretty good.
Yeah, that makes nice chain link fencing too.
Yeah, that's what I bought it for. I just started grabbing it here and yanking it apart sideways, and it looks real cool. Like it's like a old net.
Yeah, that's gonna look nice on there when you're done with it.
Yeah. So guys, I think I planned this for about 2 hours. It's been
Running
about
right
2
about on
hours.
schedule.
Yeah, sorry Donnie that you got in at the last call, but
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think I'm gonna shut this down for the day.
Okay.
You guys can start up the hangout. I'll join that if you want. Talk to you later. Thanks for coming out, guys. Okus.
Appreciate you
Ron,
coming.
no problem.
Nice to meet
Definitely
you.
enjoyable.
And talk to you later, Barry.
All right, you take it easy. Donnie and Cuse, I'll catch up with you later. I got some running around to do, so all right?
All right, gentlemen, have a good day.
Yeah, you
Okay.
too, man.